Coming up.
Feels remarkably slick, doesn't it?
You sound surprised by that, actually.
I visualised the long beard growing.
I do like a red lip.
Blindsided.
He was slightly more throaty than I thought he was going to be.
Really isn't the best script for two butch guys.
You're my podcast wife, he's my podcast husband.
Not many people know that, and I don't tell many people either.
Don't say I went the other way.
Breathe when I want, mate. Breathe when I want.
Bad man.
This is true.
Bad woman.
Could have been, should have been.
Not necessarily in that order, depending on what day it is, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't quite get that right.
It is weird.
I am quite bassy, if I'm honest.
It's like, what?
You got the job.
And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that? Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by BritishVoiceover.co.uk. This, over there, is Sam Boffin. We work together.
We do. Hello.
Hello.
And this is Mark Rice. He's a legend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this week we're chatting to a very special guest as we set out to prove that there's more than just one way to read a script.
Yes, there is. And if you use a mic for work or for fun, maybe you're a podcaster or a director or an actor, or like the two of us, a voice actor, then this podcast is for you.
Now, today's fun fact about Sam is that she hardly ever goes to a hairdresser and cuts her own hair. Now, I'm amazed at that because your hair always looks pristine.
It does not look pristine. It looks like a mess. But it's because it's curly, you see, and you can get away with a lot. And I discovered during lockdown that I never needed to go to a hairdresser again.
Nice.
So I was able to, I cut it at home, I cut the fringe in sometimes, I dye it. It all goes, I've saved an absolute fortune.
I think
good.
you deserve to be applauded for that.
Well, thank you very much. I think I should be too. So Mark's fun fact is that he is one half of a podcast called the Grumpy Old Gays podcast.
Yeah, I do this other podcast with my friend Mark. You're my podcast wife, he's my
Yes.
podcast husband. And we basically moan about stuff on YouTube. It's quite funny. It's called the Grumpy Old Gays podcast.
Well, I love it. I mean, obviously, I tune in all the time.
Of course.
So, and of course, it's in Vision, which I love.
It is. Well, of course, we also have a special guest who this week is voice actor Mark Collins. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Oh, that's a beautifully deep voice. Yeah, I know I'm well, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
I'm going to be confused now with the two Marks. Two
You will.
Marks.
Yes.
I will.
Mark C and Mark R is, I think, how you have to
Exactly.
refer to us.
That's where I'm going. So Mark Collins is an actor with over 25 years of behind-the-mic experience. He spent his early years in the military, and he's a proud dad of 3 amazing grown-up children and grandfather to 4. That's incredible. As a former military NCO, he brings an unmatched professionalism, technical ability and attention to detail to his creative work, along with the ability to completely let loose and play in character.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. His performances are informed by a wealth of experience from a life well-travelled and well-lived so far, and he's participated in over 100 radio plays and
Wow.
audio dramas as an actor, producer and editor as well.
That's amazing.
Do you have a fun fact for us?
Well, the fun fact is it's quite surprising, really, that I actually can play the bagpipes and was actually in a pipe band.
Wow. That's so cool. Golly.
Yeah. Not many people know that, and I don't tell many people either.
Actually, I have to say that must be incredible for your breath control.
Well, do you know something? It's amazing how you get these skills and they do benefit your daily life. You know, you don't do it because of that, but it does help for sure. Yeah, breathing control is very important when you're playing the bagpipes for sure.
And is it as loud when it's right
Yeah.
up next to your ear as it seems when you're halfway across the field?
Yeah, it's very annoying if you don't like the bagpipes. I've been told to shut up so many times you have no idea. And if I bring some of my friends round who can also play the bagpipes, well then the neighbours are not happy.
I'm sure they're not. Well, on that very loud musical note, let's have a look at our first script of the show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that? So this is something that I'm laughing because this is something I've been working on recently, and I've just suddenly looked at it and thought, actually, this really isn't the best script for two butch guys.
Oh yes, was it sublime, A-list allure?
I mean, I have butch energy, but apart from that, yeah.
Good for me. Maybe not. You may not have been.
I am not at all surprised that you were given this script, Sam, knowing your penchant for the way you look and how beautifully red lips you have sometimes.
I do like a red lip.
Yeah. Tell me what this is for.
Well, it's for a documentary that is about fashion.
With its sublime A-list allure. Red lipstick has been long been the maker.
Are you popping your cork already, Mark?
No. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go with that.
Let's do that. Let's just do that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is all about, how kind of old school Hollywood.
Yep.
It's kind of about fashion, the way that fashion and makeup developed.
Okay, and what kind of character are you? Is it Sam's beautifully deep voice that we're having on this documentary?
It's just me. There is a lot of levity in it, I suppose.
Okay.
It's got quite a lot of fun stuff with it, and it's definitely not serious. It's got a sort of cheekiness about it.
To be fair, the script doesn't take itself that seriously anyway, does it?
No, exactly. It's a fun little piece. It's not very long, and yeah, it just goes through. I think it was just an excuse to show a lot of gorgeous, Hollywood actresses. To be
absolutely, why not? Good stuff. All right, well, I'll have a go first, and then Mark can have a go, and then we'll chat about it. All right.
Yeah, you'll love this. You'll love it.
Let's see where we go with this. I've got to remember not to go too fast, because over the last couple of weeks, I've approached documentary, and I've just gone too fast. So I will try and keep it down a little bit. Okay, here we go. With its sublime A-list allure, red lipstick has long been the makeup essential of red carpets, award shows, and black tie galas. Swiping on a coating of crimson taps into the star power, captivating elegance, and je ne sais quoi associated with the actresses of what's become known as the golden age of Hollywood, which began in the late 1920s.
Very nice.
Very good.
You certainly, absolutely, you certainly slowed down.
I did, deliberately.
Possibly a little bit too much.
Oh, don't say I went the other way.
You did. It's difficult. I just wonder if that was quite big for a doc.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does depend on what they're looking for, obviously.
So you want more conversational than that?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it's got a sort of light cheekiness. What did you think, though, Mark C?
Yeah, I suppose it's about the tone. Is it meant to be tongue in cheek a little bit, or is it kind of like a little bit cheeky, or is it meant to be kind of like information delivery?
I think it's more sort of fun and not so much tongue-in-cheek, because it's not quite tongue-in-cheek, but it's sort of fun and flirty, if you like, or fun and conversational. I think you're right, Mark, conversational.
Which explains, Sam, why you were asked to do it. The sensual Sam came out for this one, I imagine.
Well, I'm not sure that I do sensual Sam, to be honest, but...
Everyone else thinks you do. It's only you that don't think that you do.
It might only be you. No,
I don't think it is.
But I think more playful, perhaps.
Okay, more playful. There you go, Mark. You've got a number of extra notes there.
That's great. That's really good. Okay. All right, we'll give it a go. See what happens. Okay. With its sublime A-list allure, red lipstick has long been the makeup essential of red carpets, award shows, and black tie galas. Swiping on a coat of crimson taps into the star power, captivating elegance, and the je ne sais quoi associated with the actresses of what's become known as the golden age of Hollywood, which began in the late 1920s.
Much softer than I did it. I like that. Much, much softer.
Yeah. There was still an element of presentational, and again, it's great. It's lovely, and it was beautifully, close mic'd. That I thought it had a really intimate feel to it.
It did, yes.
And again, it really just depends on what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So that had a real oomph actually to it, which I enjoyed. And as you say, Mark, nice and sort of intimately close mic. I like that.
That line, a coating of crimson taps into the star power, is a nightmare, because there should be another comma in that sentence, and there isn't.
Yeah. I thought that when I read it today. I went, ooh, that's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
Got to get your breath right on that one.
But that's the thing, it is about breath control, because that's a long sentence, that end one as well.
It is, but you don't have to do it all in one breath.
Well, I know you, Sam. You ignore punctuation and then you add your own.
Breathe when I want, mate. Breathe
when you want. Do it how you want. It's all fine.
My bigger worry is there is a word in the first sentence which is one of my hated words.
Well, you brought this script, Sam.
Oh, I know.
So you've only got yourself to blame. Allure is one of the words that Sam really doesn't like. We had a whole episode about it a while ago.
Really? Wow.
I really don't like allure.
Well, we shall see how you get on with it, Sam.
We're about to find out.
Let's see what Sam did with it, shall we?
With its sublime A-list allure, red lipstick has long been the makeup essential of red carpets, award shows and black tie galas. Swiping on a coating of crimson taps into the star power, captivating elegance and je ne sais quoi associated with the actresses of what's become known as the golden age of Hollywood, which began in the late 1920s.
You began quite cheeky and then ended being quite historical and factual.
Yeah.
So it felt like you actually kind of did the curve back into factual there.
Yeah, I didn't even notice I was doing that, but you're probably right. Yeah. I think it's because of the language in the first bit.
I'm just going to say it's because it's written that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
you know, in the beginning it's painting pictures with red lipstick and red carpet, black tie galas, and then the end of it, it's factual that it's the golden age of Hollywood, which began in the 1920s. So there's kind of nearly a switch in it to a certain
Absolutely.
extent.
And of course, we're going into something. We're going into some stuff about, the sort of Hollywood of the 20s. So we are going into something there.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot more conversational. It was cheeky at the beginning, but it was conversational, I thought.
I suspect I was even more conversational at the time thinking about it. And I was slightly off-put because I cannot remember the bit that I did. I would have redone that actually because there was something in there where I kind of thought, I didn't quite get that right. But not that it matters, but it's just, it's interesting.
But you did get allure right. So you got over the word that you hate.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
It's like when I see digital in a script and it's like, oh God, digital's coming up. And for some reason, Dublin as well. Whenever I see that in a script, I fall over it. Yeah,
Wow.
it's one of those
Dublin?
weird with Dublin. Occasionally I'll say Dublin. It's like, what?
That's weird.
It is weird.
It is. That's really strange.
Wow.
Well, everyone has little kind of quirky words that they just don't like
They
seeing.
do.
You know,
They absolutely do.
A lot of it can be to do with the shape of your mouth or your tongue or things like that. You know, because obviously when we're vocalizing, we make shapes with our mouth, and we've all got different sizes, tongues, and some words just don't sit so well in your mouth.
I'd never even thought of that.
What are you saying about the size of my tongue, Mark?
Well, I didn't want to bring it up now that but now that you've mentioned it.
But what are words? Have you got any words, Mark C, that you really don't like?
I don't really, if I'm honest. Not
Are you
that I
just
can
showing off
recall.
now?
Yeah, of course, obviously. It's a podcast. You've got to show off on a podcast. Don't get many chances to show off in public. Come on. Not really. I have to be very careful of my S's, obviously, like most people do, you know, or if there's a word with several S's in there.
Yeah.
That can really get me, like most people, I suppose. I don't know, really. Like I said, I'm not showing off, but I can't. There is definitely some, but I just can't recall them at the moment.
Play, how do you say that? Of course, it's worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts we've been working on, but we've changed names and some of the details to avoid copyright issues.
We have indeed. So, Mark, tell us about the script you've bought. It's very different to the one I bought.
Yeah. I brought this script. It's a children's animation. It's a part that I was cast in last year or the year before, and I'm going to reprieve again hopefully very soon. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, again, it's for under 6 child audience.
Okay.
And the script is basically there's child actors in it, actually. There's 2 featured in it, and I play the part of a wizard.
Okay.
Yes, tell us more about the wizard, because obviously you would have had a character breakdown. What do we need to know about it?
Well, the wizard is obviously, as most wizards are, wise, very thoughtful, knowledgeable, otherworldly to a certain extent.
Gandalf-y? Merlin-y?
Yeah, maybe. More Merlin, I think, actually, because there's a bit more spells in this one, and there's a magic wand, obviously, you know. Yeah. And I did obviously got some graphics of the character. He looked a bit odd, if I'm honest. He kind of like clown shoes with the big bells on the end, which was a bit off-putting. But yeah. But I've been typecast as wizards. I've done 3 wizards, believe it or not. First gig I ever did was a wizard.
There's a great picture of you as a wizard on your website.
Yeah. Of course, and my brother is a graphic designer. He's great.
I think it looks amazing, actually, all of that. I mean, I had a look at it today and I thought, you're very clever.
Do you know something? I learned this from J.B. Blanc. I did a couple of training with him, and he said that if you can visualize yourself as the character, you'll find it easier to play the character. If you can see yourself as the character.
That's so true,
kind of
isn't
do
it?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely,
So
100%.
Yeah.
You know, the physicality of the character, if they bent up, are they tall, whatever, you know, it does make a difference, you know.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So I did a gig in America. It was a movie, but I did the voice of a box. It was called The Box in the Basement, and the box was meant to be the old wise sage stroke wizard. Mm-hmm. And when I spoke to the casting director, his direction was, we're looking for an English Gandalf.
Gandalf
is English. Yeah, that's it. I had to close my microphone because I couldn't stop laughing. But anyway, so
how funny.
It was funny. It was just really funny. He was an American guy. He said, I'm looking for an English Gandalf.
To be fair, Mark, we have changed your script from a dialogue into a monologue just for our purposes
That's
here.
all right.
But it was only the child actor would have said a couple of words agreeing with the wizard in between. But we've turned it into a monologue for now. Sam, are you going to have the first crack at this one?
I am, actually, yes. And so this is obviously wizard, kindly. Is the wizard a kindly wizard?
Yeah, he is, but he does give a bit of foreboding. If he wants people to take him seriously. He's not like Mr. Joyful.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of stern warnings in coming from him now and again.
Yeah, and he has a son.
Yes.
According to this.
Yes, he does. And that's where it flips. He flips when he's talking to his son, and then when he's talking to everybody else, he goes back into wizard mode. So he's kind of flicks between dad and wizard. Yeah.
And just give me very quickly who Bluey is, would you?
Bluey is basically a character. Bluey is actually a donkey in this character. I know, yeah, it's crazy, yeah. And Bluey basically is the protagonist in the whole thing. It's all about Bluey. Okay. And then he basically was going to give Bluey a wand to fight. The animation is called Bluey and 5 Wishes. That's what.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a fairly important point in that 5 Wishes process, really.
Yes, it is.
All right, Sam. Does that give you enough to think about?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Okay.
Bluey, you've saved my son. For that, I will reward you with a magical wand that will grant you 5 wishes. But first, you must think hard before you make a wish. You can fulfill wishes for yourself and others as well, but be careful. If someone else gets the wand, he will get the 5 wishes. To activate it, you must say a special magical phrase while holding it.
Oh, you were a bit lighter with that than I thought you were going to be, Sam, to be fair.
That was good, though.
Yes, I didn't, until it came out of my mouth, I didn't really know what I was doing with that. I agree with you. I was lighter than I could have been, should have been, and younger than I should have been. So, in fact, the whole thing was bollocks, Bosley.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far.
No.
There's a point about halfway through where your brain made a conscious decision to go a bit older, I think.
Oh, probably.
Or a subconscious decision, maybe.
Yeah, no, probably.
I thought that was an interesting take, Mark, to be honest.
I liked it. I actually liked the caring nature of it in the opening line. I thought that was really good, and it drew us in, and then he issued a warning, but, not too much, just be careful, which is good.
I'm thinking it's preschool.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. You've got to think of the audience as well. It's very important,
I am going to say, was it big enough wizard for preschool?
No,
and
I
a
don't
preschool
think so.
animation? I don't know.
No,
yeah, well,
I don't think so.
think I would think that a wizard in an under 6s animation is a big deal.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree.
Exactly. I only say that because I think I'm going to go quite considerably bigger on it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the minute I opened my mouth, I realised that it just wasn't big enough at all. But,
Fair.
Hey, we get one shot at these things.
We do. And that's the thing. It's so unfair because actually in a session or when you're auditioning or whatever, you normally get more than one shot anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But then that's how we've made the podcast. It's all good. It's all good.
I know.
All right, let me have a go then. So I'm going to channel my inner wizard. I'm going to try and get a bit older here. Bluey, you've saved my son. For that, I will reward you with a magical wand that will grant you 5 wishes. But you must think hard before you make a wish. You can fulfill wishes for yourself and others as well. But be careful. If someone else gets the wand, he will get the 5 wishes. To activate it, you must say a special magical phrase while holding it.
Nice. I mean, I was expecting you to go bigger than that, actually.
Okay.
Amazingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I was expecting it to be more Santa-y, actually.
I wondered about that.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows that I do Santa a lot. But I wondered if I could make it different enough. So
Yes.
I came down a little bit from that. I thought he was quite throaty. He was slightly more throaty than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was a bit gruff there, which is good. I think that worked. I think it did work, actually.
I visualised the long beard growing.
Did you?
Yes.
The one thing I would say about it was simply that laugh towards the end, i.e. before to activate it.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure about that.
Okay.
Gave it a slightly different dimension.
Slightly sinister.
Yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But that was all.
Yeah, it might backfire. If you don't activate it right, it could backfire.
Yes, exactly right. You don't want that. Right, I definitely want to hear what you did, Mark C. now.
Yeah, really interested.
All right, we'll see. We'll give it a
Can
go
you
and see
remember?
what that. Not really, but listen, it's a wizard, isn't it? Anyway, okay. Bluey, you saved my son, and for that I will reward you with a magical wand that will grant you 5 wishes. But you must think hard before you make a wish. You can fulfill wishes for yourself and others as well. But be careful. If someone else gets the wand, he will get the 5 wishes. To activate it, you must say a special magical phrase while holding it.
You've got the job.
You have got the
You
job.
got the
absolutely.
job.
I got a bit of Darth Vader from that.
Oh, no, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get Darth Vader at all.
Certainly at the beginning where I said, Bluey, you've saved my son. It's like, it's
my son. Yeah, well, there you go.
It's like,
I should have done that.
It's like,
I loved the sort of avuncular feel of it, actually. I loved that. It felt very safe, that bit where you must... I don't mean you did a safe read. I meant from a child's perspective.
Yeah,
it felt
course,
like a really
reassuring,
safe,
yeah.
nice, reassuring. You must think hard before you make a wish. You can fulfill wishes for yourself. It felt like a really kind of, okay, he's, that's... no, I really loved that. I thought there was a lovely... And you aged yourself up exponentially.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, and 3 very different wizarding characterizations there.
But that's the whole idea, isn't it? That everybody sees a script and they take it differently. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
That's the whole idea.
That is true. so true. And sometimes fail. No.
Well, you never know, Sam. You might get to do it again in a minute.
This is true. So it is time, of course, for the wildcard bits, of course. So it is time to approach these scripts in a very different way.
Yes. So, Mark C., can you pick one of the scripts and give one of us a new motivation or character, please?
I want Sam to take on the Bluey script.
See, I told you were going to get to do it again.
Okay.
Right? But this time, I want you to be a gang leader.
A gang leader?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And Bluey and your son are part of the gang. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gang leader.
Yeah.
That's
Very
not
threatening.
easy, but
No,
yeah.
it's not. No. He's a bad man. Bad woman.
Bad woman.
Bad woman.
He's a bad
woman.
lady.
Bad woman.
She's a
Bad
bad
lady.
woman. Yeah.
Okay, so gang leader.
Yeah.
Okay. Bluey, you've saved my son, and for that, I will reward you with a magical wand that will grant you 5 wishes, but you must think hard before you make a wish. You can fulfill wishes for yourself and others, but be careful. If someone else gets that wand, he will get the 5 wishes. To activate it, you must say a special magical phrase while holding it.
No one's going to argue with you.
I love that. I love that.
It's like you're standing on the corner of Walford and you're the East End gang boss.
I love
Seriously,
that.
yeah.
That so works. It so works.
It really does.
Yeah.
Again, I wondered if I wasn't big enough. I'm just
No. I don't think it needed to be big.
Okay.
You were mean and scary, and those you held those people in your hand.
I could have gone further.
Yeah. Well, sometimes a dialed down threat is better than a shouting threat, as we all know. So
Yeah.
But I probably do agree with you a little bit. I think you probably could have, like, if you went for a second pass, I definitely think you would dial it up and you have more intent.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's not so much dialing up. I don't think the volume was the issue.
No,
I
the
think
intent.
it was more the intent.
Yeah.
Intention, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's good,
I
though.
did think it was very nice. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mark C., one for you now.
Okay.
I think. I would like you to cast yourself back to the 1950s and be a cheeky bus conductor on a red bus in London, taking fares.
Oh my God, which one's he going to give you?
I'm going to give you the lipstick one.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking big red bus as well.
All right. Cheeky bus driver.
Cheeky bus driver.
Cheeky chappy.
Cheeky chappy, all right, yeah. All right, let's do it then. Right, let's give it a go. All right. With its sublime A-list allure, red lipstick has long been a makeup essential for red carpets, award shows and black tie galas. Swiping on a coating of crimson taps into the star power, captivating elegance and the je ne sais quoi associated with the actresses of what's become known as the golden age of Hollywood, which began in the late 1920s.
I like that. The characterisation was good, but I did imagine that it was cheeky bus conductor almost with a camera at him rather than talking to one of his passengers, maybe. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. But I loved it. It took me right back to on the buses.
Yeah, well, quite absolutely. No, which is what was in my head, I guess, a little bit. I really like it, and the characterisation was great. So, cheeky chappy for you in future then, Mark.
I've done it. I've done him a bit, actually, funny enough, and I do like. I know, like I was born in Watford, so I'm not a million miles away from Cockney, London.
Are you?
Wow.
Yeah. So I can dial it up, and I do like that character. I've used him a lot, So it's a bit of fun.
Do you mean that you just fell back into one that was just in your wheelhouse?
Yeah, I did a bit. I shouldn't have done that, should I?
Oh, no, God.
Do you know what? Sometimes it works. Absolutely. Sometimes that's the thing to do, isn't it?
Well, and also we all have, we all have certain characters, if you like, that we know we can do, and we play around with them. We know that that's the kind of base mark, and we either dial them up, dial them down, or
take it left, take it right, take it
whatever.
Yeah, around the bend.
We have to start from somewhere.
Well, if you want to play along in the privacy of your own booths and do way better than we did this week, we've put the scripts in the show notes so you can have a try yourself.
Yes, you absolutely can. Now, Mark C., our question this week is, so I noticed on your website you talk about having a mid-Atlantic accent, which is obviously very sought after right now. So is that an accent you developed? Because when I listened to your stuff, it was certainly there in some things, not so much in others. You felt like you had a really versatile accent.
Yeah, I think I do have a versatile accent, and the reason I do is because I've lived half my life in England and half my life in Ireland. And if I'm talking to my brother who still lives in London, I'm like, oh yeah, all right, no, come on. And if I'm talking to my kids who are born in Ireland, you think I was out of the field or something, Wow. So somewhere in the middle. And of course, I've worked on radio a lot in Ireland and in England, and of people calling in, are you from South Africa? Are you Australian? So it depends. Sometimes it depends who I'm talking to. I know that sounds crazy, but it's actually true. But I'm conscious of it. I'm trying to dial down my Britishness because, to be quite honest with you, I do a lot of work in America and Canada and Australia, and that's why. Because I actually market myself in that area. Because in the UK, I'm just another English voice actor. In America, I'm an English voice actor. So, okay, there's less parts, but there's less people going for them as well, So and it's kind of paid off a little bit for me so far. So touch wood.
But you give them the English version that they want, rather than the actual English version, maybe.
But like I said before, I had a director ask me for an English Gandalf.
Amazing, yes, amazing.
So can you also do full-on American accents, or I mean?
I'm working on my Gen M. I can do a Southern accent, no problem. I do cowboys all the time. What are you talking about?
everyone says a southern accent is easier for the Brits.
Yeah, it's the easiest one to do, you know.
Because it's the most over-the-top one, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Is it not to do with the vowels, I think?
You can fall
Partly
into
so
it
as well. Yeah.
So I'm working with a dialect coach, Tom Antonelis, Tom's a friend of mine.
He's actually fantastic. Yeah.
Tom is trying to get my Gen Am better. Now, I can do it in short bursts, but obviously, you know, to sustain it is hard. Because there are certain little colloquialisms that you've got to get your head around, and also some words, you know.
But that's true of any accent, isn't it? If you're not carrying the authentic accent, that's true. I mean, as we see in a lot of movies where it doesn't go right.
Well, there are more than where it does go right, though. I'm always really impressed with
sometimes
with accent work.
I mean, I'm going to take Hugh Laurie as the classic example in House, who did eight seasons as the Americans didn't know he wasn't American.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's quite extraordinary.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
And some people are just really good at, if you've got a good ear, I think an ear makes a big difference. You know, I think I've got a pretty good ear. I'm quite I've got good musicality, which helps.
Yes. Yeah,
because most accents are very some more musicy than others. Like if you go to Cork in Ireland, the accent, it sounds like they're singing.
Sing-song is beautiful, absolutely.
It's also tapping into the rhythm of the accent as well. It's not just getting the pronunciation, if you like. There's a whole new rhythm depending on the
cadence,
accents.
And the rhythm, 100%. Yeah.
But once again, we come back to the fact that voiceover work is very much about musicality. It's about rhythm. It's about all of those things together.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So I'm working on my Mid-Atlantic, and I'm using it as my unique selling point. Well, it's not unique, but it's my selling point.
It's your selling point.
It's my selling point.
Exactly.
And that, my friends, is Mark Collins. A reminder that all of Mark's details can be found in the show notes.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah,
and of course, today's scripts can also be found in the show notes.
Yes.
And please do subscribe to the podcast and give us a review if you like it.
Yes, that's it for this week. Thank you again, Mark. I hope that you've enjoyed it.
It's been fantastic. It's been an absolute pleasure. It was good fun. I mean, that's what it should be about, shouldn't it? And it certainly was that. So I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for inviting me on, and I look forward to sharing it with everybody, especially my mum, my biggest fan.
Excellent. This is just for Mark's mum. Well, we'll be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest where we'll be asking him, Mark, this is where we do the title of the show all together. How do you say
that?
How do you say that?